As you know at this point, we are doing a Nuzlocke. And this time, it's a bug and ghost types, all shiny encounters that I got before the run started in Hardcore Nuzlocke rules. And if you know anything about this channel, honey, you know that we take anything and make it gay! Now, before we start, let's get 4 things straight. 1, I'm not.
Oh, what you said? Queen.
2, this video is part of a series that I am doing where I do a Hardcore Nuzlocke in Scarlet and Violet with all types available in duos. 3, this is run number 2 because during run number 1, I died to Yono. No, I don't want to talk about it. And 4, you better damn well subscribe to this channel, okay? I'm trying to get to 500 subs, so please do subscribe, please, please. Please, please. The run starts, and I decide to name our character Fantina in honor of one of the cuntiest ghost gym leaders. And then the story starts, and by this point, you know what happens. A lot of stuff. Cock and Ball's dragon. Arvin is traumatized. Anyway, let's get our encounters. First, we got a Rowlet named Oberon. Now, 2 things here. I couldn't change the name of this Rowlet for some weird reason, and I decided to give myself a different starter to make things fun instead of just going with the ones available in Paldea. And then a Scatterbug we named Thumbelina, and a Surskit we named Undini. And then it's more yada yada yada, blah blah blah, school, no bullying, team star, this Roman right here serving. And on we finally go to the first gym, getting a tarantula on the way that we named Bottom. Before any of y'all bitches—
oh, wait a minute, bitches—
start, this is actually the name of a character in a Shakespeare story where Bottom is a weaver, so y'all can shut the fuck up and suck my— Anyway, let's go to the first gym, which is the bug gym that we win very quickly using Oberon. Now, we go to Club. And on the way there, we got a Gimmighoul that we named Leprechaun, and we just win this battle with like a bunch of Terra Razor leaves. And now we have to go to the grass gym, and the good thing about having a flying type on the first 2 gyms is that it makes it so much easier to finish them, and that's what happened. Oberon, who's now a Dartrix, just finished everybody with a bunch of Airy Oasis. And then after this gym, we got new encounters, which were a Misdreavus called Carabosse and a Sableye named Jen. So because the next stop is the Flying Titan, I decide to make the long travel to get the Thunderbolt TM and also a Dust Stone, so my Carabosse can now become a Mismagius with Thunderbolt, which made a big difference fighting the bird, and it was very easy to get rid of it after a few turns of Thunderbolts. We are now able, again, to walk on water. And we also get our next encounter, which is a combi we named Titania. We decide to evolve her and give her X Scissors, so we have a better chance against the Dark Base. And let's just skip the fact that Thumbelina died while I was grinding for a very stupid decision. Let's just ignore that. Like, that didn't happen. It's like in all of our imaginations. She never even existed. Now, this battle against the Dark Base was the luckiest I've had ever. Miss Titania was able to one-shot this Poniard with a crit X Scissors, and then 4 more X Scissors were able to just finish the car, and I was able to like avoid some moves, which was great. And that means that was the cleanest battle, Dark Base battle we have ever had in this channel, at the gig, at the channel.
And here on this day,
That was the cleanest. Cleanest. And now we're back to where we stopped last run, and Nemona is next. Now, Miss Magius was able to take the Rockruff out with 2 magical leaves, and then Palmy with a Terra Hex. And then we just finished the battle with 3 hexes against Floragato. And she almost died on the way. No! Okay.
alright.
So Nemona is defeated.
Te largas.
And next up is Yono. And now we have 100% of our Pokemon back, and a Charcadet fully evolved into a Ceruledge that we named Curupira, and an Oricorio we named Taylor Swift. Get it?
Girl, shut the fuck up. You thought you ate that? Bitch,
And also a Drippy named Puka. So this is how this battle played out. After setting up with Swords Dance twice, it was just a clean sweep. Now it's time for the Firebase.
Bitch, you gonna step on my fucking toe, bitch, with them fucking cowgirl fucking boots, bitch, disgusting.
So to maximize damage, I decide to tear Kurupira into fire and set a Swords Dance. And I use a sun-powered flame charge that deals around 60% of damage into Torkoal. Now, unfortunately, Torkoal uses Clear Smog, which cancels my Swords Dance, but then goes down to another flame charge. Then against the Starmobile, I am able to set one Swords Dance while he meets the Screech. And the next turn, he hits a second Screech. But Kurupira is able to deal around 30% HP with a Shadow Claw. Next turn, I decide to risk it and go for another one, but the Starmobile uses Swift.
The woman was too stunned to speak.
So then I am able to do another 30%. And after 2 more turns of this card using Swift for I don't know which reason, Kurupira is able to finish the battle. And this is the Firebase.
Honey.
Next battle is Earthworm. And honestly, the Dildo Pokemon goes down really fast by a bunch of charcoal-powered mystical fires used by Miss Magus.
Horrible flop when it came out. Nobody thought it was good.
Which means that now it's time for next encounters. And they are a Rotom, we named Wisp, a Venonat, we named Pixie, and then Miss Wisp was the icon that we needed for the next gym, the Water Gym. And she was able to one-shot everyone until we got to Abominable, who survived the Thunderbolt with a little bit of HP and killed her. Then Miss Magus comes in and finishes the job. See? Another gym down, 4 more to go. So finishing this gym allows us to get our next encounter, which is a Ghastly we named Alb. And then it's on to the to the Poison Base. Now, for this battle, I used a strategy that was never seen on this channel. And I know everyone here is going to be shocked, gooped, and gagged by what I did. Taylor Swift went first, set up 2 Swords Dance, and then Baton Pass into Kurupira, who Terra into fire, and then sweep everyone with Terra Flame charges. Ooh.
You may say I'm a dreamer.
And then after a bunch of grinding and getting our next encounter, which is Mimikyu, we named Selkie, and evolving Alb into a Gengar, it's on to battle Miss Larry.
I love her lack of energy. Go girl, give us nothing.
And in another very, very unexpected turn of events, I set 2 Swords Dances and take down Kamala with a Flame Charge for a speed boost, and then it's a clean sweep with Brick Breaks. So then, after this absolute steamroller of a Nuzlocke run, we get to the first battle that I actually did sweat a bit, which was against Nemona. Because Kurupira had no chance against Lycanroc, I had to switch other Pokemon in, and then Bottom was the chosen one who survives a hit, uses Silk Trap to be able to reduce Lycanroc's speed, and then, unfortunately, dies.
Oh no! Let me write an incident report in my fanny pack.
So then I start to put my planning to practice, and I send in Alb, who was supposed to take Lycanroc out with 2 Giga Drains, but he couldn't hit the second one because I forgot about Accelerock.
You're not smart! You're not smart!
So then Selkie comes in and took him out with a Shadow Sneak, and then takes Palmo and Gumi out with Play Rough. So now it's Meowscarada. And because there was no chance that Selkie would survive, I had to change her out, and I decided to bring in Kurupira, who I knew was going to be able to survive at least 2 Flower Tricks. And that was enough for Kurupira to tear into fire and just finish her off with 2 Flame Charges. See? I had to actually think about this one. So now we are free for more encounters, which are Nimble, we named Nymph, and a Grivard, we named Grim. So then after a bunch of grinding, we just finished that Ghost Gym off in, I don't know, 2 minutes, because again, how many boosts? And then it's time for a real challenge, which is the Ground Titan. Just kidding, Undini holding Mystic Water just took it out with a bunch of Terra Surfs. And that leaves us with the ability to glide and our next encounters, which are Shuppet, we named Poltergeist, and a Sinistee, we named Kagejawan. So it's on to battle Nemona and Laura Lee. So against Nemona, I send in Kagejawan, who is able to one-shot Lightning Rock with Giga Drain, and then Sliggoo is next, so I decide to switch into Selkie, who's able to one-shot Sliggoo, and then Palmot with Play Rough. Now against Meowscarada, I decide for a little bit of a different strategy because Selkie has Disguise still. I decide to keep her in and do some damage with Shadow Claw. And then that was enough to bring in Kurupira, who came in, Terra Fire, and then Flame Charge once for the win. So Many MUA was next, and I used the groundbreaking setup strategy by Terra Oricor into Flying to remove the weakness against Furry Giraffe's Crunch, and then use 2 Sword Stances, a Baton Pass, to switch into, say it with me, Kuro.
No ma'am.
This time I send Nymph, who one-shots everybody with Throat Chops and Sucker Punch. See, I am in fact using variations of the same strategy. Thank you very much for coming. With 7 gyms down, it means there's 1 more to go, and in that gym we get a cool glitch that shows Miraidon as a shiny, and honestly I want it so bad. We need an event for that. Oh yeah, by the way, the battle was fine. Kurupira took everyone out with Terra Fire Bitterblade, holding Charcoal. Now, the actual true challenge was evolving this fucking Gimmighoul into a Goldengo. So now it's the Fairy Base. And Leprechaun was able to 2-shot Azumarill with Thunderbolt, and then he was able to 1-shot Dashbun and Wigglytuff with Flash Cannon. Now against the Starmobile, or the Pride Parade car, Leprechaun was able to almost defeat it, but because his last hit was a crit, we had to switch into Selkie, who finished the battle with Shadow Sneak. So that allows us for more encounters, which is a lot of fun, and like one of my favorite encounters of this run, which was a Scyther who the community decided to vote to evolve into a Cleavor. So look at this beautiful Pokemon, who in all his glory we named Dullahan. But because there is no rest for the wicked, we get ready to battle Dodonzo and her daughter Tatsugiri. And because this run is an absolute steamroll of a run, this was easy. Leprechaun handled Dodonzo with 2 Thunderbolts the first battle and the second battle, and then a few Dazzling Gleams were enough to finish Tatsugiri with the help of Ridden, using some takedowns. Now we're almost at the end of all the gym badges available in this game, and the next one is the Fighting type base. And on the way there, we got our next encounters, which were this beautiful pink Heracross we named Boto, and the Brambling we named Yggdrasil without the S because I forgot to press S, and then I pressed start too early and we got Yggdrasil. Great. Now it's Miss Riri, and against her, I use a setup strategy, okay? And I did, and I would do it again.
And you would do it too for a check. I was an employee, and I was gonna get Employee of the Month, and that's on period.
Anyway, Oricorio was able to set 2 Sword Stances and use Baton Pass freely because Toxicroak kept using Sucker Punch. So then I send in Kurupira, who one-shots everybody with Terra Bitterblade, and then we win.
I like it. I like this. I'm like, wow, amazing. Botox is definitely worth it. Love it.
So with all the gym badges done, let's all now battle the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet version of this.
That is the real thing. Snatched.
Or this. And for sure this.
But I keep them guessing. As you learn your lesson. Now we pause for the big reveal. And you never saw it coming, baby.
So for this battle, I start with Dullahan, who's able to one-shot his Oranguru and also his Abomasnow with a Silver Powder powered X Scissors. That was a tongue twister. Next is Houndoom, and lucky for me, he uses Fire Blast, and Cleaver is able to survive it because of the Snowscape. So Houndoom gets one shot by his Stone Axe, which also sets Stealth Rock for those who don't know, which comes very much in handy. Next up is Poltergeist. So I decide to switch into Goldengo, who almost dies to his Shadow Ball. And because Goldengo is faster, I decide to Terra him into Ghost and take this little kettle out with a Terra Shadow Ball. So because Amungos is next, I decide to switch into Oberon, who takes a Hex and almost one-shots him with a Brave Bird. Gets hit by a Toxic, but because Oberon will survive the damage, I keep him and use Shadow Sneak, and then one Leaf Blade is able to take Quaquaval out. And this was one of the smoothest Clavel battles I've ever had, and I am obsessed with this battle. So next is the gauntlet, that is that Elite Four. The thing is, I've prepared my Pokemon a lot with EVs and mints that changed natures and TMs. I've done a bunch of stuff. I am very proud of myself. So coming into the Elite Four, the first one is Rika, and I decide to use Oberon as our ace for this battle. It is able to take Wishcash out with Leaf Blades. Now, the thing is, next up is Cameron. He takes a hard hit with Spirit Shackles and uses Yawn. So to avoid sleep, I send in Kurupira, who completely avoided a Fire Blast, which is great, and decided to finish him with a Psycho Cut. Next up is Dumbfan, so I decide to switch back into Oberon for our little strategy, which works because Oberon just Leaf Blades everyone to death.
Death to all of them.
Which means 1 down, 3 to go. So the daycare is letting loose Honey because next up is Poppy. So I send in Dullahan first to hit a Stone Axe to be able to set Stealth Rock because I need to deal with the Sturdy for Magnezone. What I wasn't expecting is how much this fucking elephant would deal with a Heavy Slam, who took my beautiful Cleaver out in 1 hit. Anyway, the positive of this situation is that I was able to bring in Kurupira, who got a clean switch. And after setting 1 Swords Dance, a bunch of Bitter Blades just won the battle for us. 2 down, 2 to go. Next battle is against Larry using Flying types.
The way you deliver.
And this was a very cool battle because this was the first time that I actually used a Masquering properly. And after setting 1 Quiver Dance, it was Ice Beam after another Ice Beam, another Ice Beam, no sleep. Anyway, you got the point. 3 down, 1 to go. Hassle Honey.
What in the toy wig is going on here?
Listen, this time I was a woman with a plan and ready to win. After setting up 2 Quiver Dances and getting ready to Baton Pass, guess what? A crit. I was actually very pissed about this loss because I love my Oricorio. Anyway, so then it was time to pivot to another strategy that I came up the second that I lost Oricorio, which is I sent in Puka, who's now fully evolved Dragapult, and Mama, those Dragon Darts were working overtime because she took every single one out. Although Oricorio was a sad loss, but I was able to pivot beautifully, and if that doesn't show growth, I don't know what will. Wig joke, wig joke, wig joke. Pose. Next battle is against Kita. Spatha went first, and that bitch used Reflect.
I was shocked, honey. I was in tears almost.
But then we got lucky with a crit Sucker Punch next turn with Nymph. Now King Gambit was next. That was an aggressive change of pace. So here comes the switcheroo of it all. I sent in Undini for an Intimidate, but... Okay, that was my fault. That was on me. That was on me. That was my fault. I didn't think he was gonna use Stone Edge. That was my fault. And then I decided to send in Puka, thinking she will one-shot with a Charcoal Power Flamethrower. But it ended up taking 2 while she almost died. Don't kill, don't kill, don't kill, don't kill, don't kill, don't kill. Woo! Oh my god. Now Gogoat is next, and I decided to be safer, so I U-turned out of there, dealing a bunch of damage and bringing Nymph back. So after taking a weak play rough, Nymph is able to finish the goat with a lunge. So then Veluza comes in, and then a Sucker Punch is enough to take this bitch out. And then Avalugg is next. The problem with Avalugg is that his physical defense is really high, so I need a special attacker. So I decide to bring in Puka, because if Avalugg uses Body Press, I'm safe. If not, we lose her. So I took the risk, and guess what happened? So then I have to go for plan at this point, I don't know, F, G, W, girl, I don't know. Then I send in Leprechaun with White Herb to make use of Make It Rain to one-shot Avalugg and do not actually lose special attack. So then when Glimmer comes in, I am also able to use another Make It Rain and then one-shots that bitch, which gives us the win. And this is, again, another successful Elite Four with a lot of blood in our hands. But at least this one was because I made mistakes, not because I was unprepared. And you know what it means after you win the Elite Four. We have 4 more battles to go. First up is Arbit.
I have to come clean.
It was another setup strategy. Curupira sets up one Swords Dance and then it's a Bitter Blade sweep. 1 down, 3 to go. Now Penny had actually had a strategy this time. Boto went first, and after one Swords Dance, he was able to take Umbreon with close combat, Flareon out with Earthquake, and Vaporeon with a close combat. Now against Jolteon, I got a bit cocky and I was like, okay, we're gonna do it. But Jolteon ended up connecting a Thunderbolt and Boto died. And I was very sad because I needed him. So I decided to send in Selkie that after 2 Baby Doll Eyes and missing 1 Play Rough, she's finally able to take this Jolteon out with a very lucky crit Play Rough. Now against Leafeon, Play Rough did absolutely nothing because of the debuffs, so I had to switch him out and I decided to bring Leprechaun, who tanks a few Leaf Blades and is able to take him out with Dazzling Gleams. Now against Sylveon, we're able to finish the battle with 1 Make It Rain boosted by Metal Coat because that was the whole strategy at this point. That was my plan with Leprechaun. And that's what happens when you actually prepare for a battle. 2 down, 2 to go. So now it's all about Miss Nemona. Oberon was sent first and was able to avoid a Stone Edge and one-shot like on Rock with a Leaf Blade. Now because Miss Oberon is a tanky boy, he's able to handle 1 Ice Ring and take Goodra out with 2 Spirit Shackles. And next is Palmot. So I decided to send in Jim for the first time in this run, to be honest, and take 1 Ice Punch. And because he had no chance to survive, I decided to do some damage against Palmot and die. I'm so sorry, Jen, but I had to bring in Selkie very safely. So she was able to go first and one-shot Palmot with a Play Rough. Now Earthworm was next. And I send in Leprechaun, who tanks an Earthquake, but then is able to one-shot him with a Focus Blast. The Dunsparce is next, and then a Focus Blast and a Dazzling Gleam are enough to take him out. And finally, Meowscarada comes out. So against Meowscarada, I had to change into Curupira. And this time, Curupira has Choice Scarf, which makes him faster automatically than Meowscarada. So a Bitter Blade is enough to finish the battle, which means 3 done. 1 more to go. So let's go to Area 0. It all comes to this. It's time to battle AI Turo. But before we do that...
Not a soaking clock. Not a soaking clock. Not a soaking clock.
Is everybody here soaking their clocks? Anyway, he sends Ironmoth first. And I send in Curupira, who sets up 1 Swords Dance and one-shots her with Psycho Cut next turn. So Turo sends in Iron Thorns right after, a little bit earlier than I was expecting. So I decided to switch into Miss Magus, hoping he would use an Earthquake, but he decided to use a Stone Edge, who not only hit, but it was a crit. So she died. So then the good thing is that I got a clean switch into Selkie, tear her into Fairy, and use a Play Rough. He uses an Earthquake, breaks the Disguise, which is like a golden ability in a Nuzlocke, which I love. And then another Play Rough leaves him on red. And he uses Stone Edge that Selkie beautifully tanks, and then a Shadow Claw just finishes him. So then he decides that it's a great idea to send in that fucking Iron Hands, which is one of his bulkiest Pokemon. So I switch into Oberon to tank an Iron Head. Now, since this is a literal last battle of this Nuzlocke, and to be honest, we should have some commotion around the room right now that I still have my starter until the end, I decide to sack him after dealing some good damage with 2 Lift Blades, so I can get a clean switch into Leprechaun, who's able to finish him with a Dazzling Gleam. Iron Jugglis is next, and Leprechaun takes a Dark Pulse, gets flinched, so next turn I'm able to survive 1 more Dark Pulse with a little bit of HP, and then I hit him with a Thunderbolt, leaving him with 1 HP! So I switch into Nymph, who thank God survives a Flamethrower, and then takes him out with a Sucker Punch next turn. Now because Iron Bundle is next, and I don't have much to do now aside from letting Nymph die, I deal some good damage with Sucker Punch, and then sack Nymph. So then I send in Selkie. Lucky for me, Iron Bundle uses Nosecape, and then Selkie almost takes it out with a Play Rough, and then a Shadow Sneak was enough to take it out next turn. So now it's time for the last Pokemon. The last bitch, Iron Valiant. Very strong attack stat, has Poison Jab, so I was worried. bitches. And with that, everyone, this is another Nuzlocke 1 under our belt. Honey work. Another duo type, another win, another day.
Another slay!
To be honest, because of the types, I was genuinely expecting to suffer a lot, but I got extremely lucky with the encounters I randomized while preparing for the run. And to be honest, when you are able to get very strong encounters in these Nuzlockes and you are able to work around them with EVs, and knowing the advantages that they have, their good moves, you can really do wonderful things. And this entire Nuzlocke was genuinely a stampede. It was one of the easiest Nuzlockes I've ever played. It was one of the easiest, the cleanest battles, and it was great. So Ceruledge gets the award here because he was honestly the one that carried us through the entire run, to be completely honest. Even more than the Gyarados from the Water and Electric. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying this run. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, do not forget to subscribe. Thank you so much. Help this homosexual become a partner on YouTube. Thank you so much. Go watch my runs live on Twitch. Bye. Thank you. Oh my God, thank you so much.